So we're going back to science class. So I've got a track, and I've got a ball. This is our scene in improvisation. Well, it turns out as we're talking about in improvisation about getting stuck and not being able to move forward, it starts to occur to me that this isn't unique to the improv performer. This is more unique to humans, like all of us. In that there are things we do where we're trying to move forward in our fill in the blank, our life, our relationship, our job, our application, several areas of our life. I'm looking for forward progression in this, and it seems like a lot of times I'm getting stuck or stopped, or I'm not moving forward as I want to. So let's look at this science model as not only to study the mechanics and dynamics of this system that happens in our lives, that happens for improvisers, but we'll also use it as a blueprint because it offers us tools for success. But let's just look and see how it works. So as you can see, I've built a little track here, or a path. So in improv parlance, this is the seed. The seed is going to end up here. Now, if you can imagine this, I could do this if I had better graphics, but if this was all coiled up, and so you don't see where the track is going, you only see, like this much, and then it sort of unfolds. That's how an improv scene works. It just kind of keeps going, and the path is sort of laid down before it. Remember how the Chinese built the railroad tracks? Just a little bit at a time. We go, okay, we go a little farther, and they bring the train along, and the train has to wait until the next bit of track is built in, and then the train, and soon it's gone from East Coast to West Coast. So once again, this is your life. These are your endeavors. You don't know how it's going to go. It's just unfolding as you go along. Now, one thing that you have that the improviser doesn't have in terms of your life is that you can at least have a thought or a plan of where your track is going to go. That's your vision. That's where the vision of what you want to do. The improviser's vision is actually to let it lay down as I go along. I'm okay with that as an improviser. That's my skill. So I want to do that. But a band, playing a song or going to see a show in the theater, we know the progression of how it's going to go along. We've got the path laid out. We've got the track laid out. So your vision, your life, generally, a lot of people have a real definite path. This is the path for me. Some people, not so much. So part of the work we want to do today, and I want to offer you today, is how might that look if you laid down a path? How to build that path? What is that path? What should that path be for me? So we'll look at laying that down, at least the groundwork of that. It can always change, but at least you have a path to start with. And then let's look and see what this does. So this has a potential here. Potential energy. This ball is ready to roll and ready to get going. And let's see what it does. It's not going to go anywhere, of course, until an external force is put on it. That's me. I put the external force here. And so we'll put so a body in motion is going to stay in motion until an external force is put on it. And I didn't put any external force on it. What happened?
Lost momentum.
It stopped. Oh my gosh. Well, it turns out that it's a great theory from Newton, but it doesn't work. We can't see it ever work because there are some forces at work, innate forces in our universe that are at work. What are these forces here? Gravity and friction. Two great forces that no matter what I do to assume or work, I did everything you told me, Newton. That external force on it. It was at rest, I did it, and then it happens. Well, in nature, there's forces at work. And that's true in our lives as well. Our best intentions are they can only go so far. They're not going to carry you to your pot of gold, necessarily. Even people who think they get to their pot of gold win the lottery. Their lives, how many lottery winners do we know end up broke again? Or wherever they were before they started. What do I need to do? What's this ball need? it needs another force on it. It needs to go, okay, well cool, I can do that. So give it another force. And eventually what happens again? Same result, okay. Well, at least we know that nature and the universe is consistent, and it's always going to do what it says it would, and that is to contradict Newton. So, I want to show you something that's really cool in nature. So if this is going, now what if, before this stops, I give it that new force? Look at that. All I had to do was to give it that next force, that next little push, before it ended its previous push, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's in perpetual motion. It has the effect of the perfect Newtonian truth. It's like, okay, well that's encouraging. So I know that it takes continued action. I can't just do an action and everything unfolds. I also know that I can time the action and I can keep it going. So now I can kind of mess around with that. And now, look at what I can do with that. Oh, look at that. So now I have some control over this universe now. I can make it go, go, go. It depends on how much energy I put in, how often I put energy in, or amp up the energy once again, or reintroduce a new energy. So there's something going on all the time here. Just let it go a little bit. Now there's some things, as this is going, I can also, I gotta get it going. When it's going here, I can stop it. There's an external force that stopped it. It wouldn't have stopped there on its own. It actually stopped sooner than nature would have allowed it, but it stopped earlier. Stuff happens in our world that is our external forces that keep it from moving forward. I use the term inhibit forward progression. Now there are some natural things that are just going to wear it out and it will come to the end of its energetic life. But there are also things that act on it before its natural end, against gravity and friction. There are things that happen. There are things that I just did. I just stopped it completely. We can, well, I don't even know if I can, well, maybe I can do.
Dave,
Yes?
there's going to be some external forces that affect the track as well, right?
Exactly. Such as?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I've got a witness to it.
So now I'm gonna I'll see if I can probably get this working up here. I'm gonna put a little problem in the track here. So did it slow down?
And it started up again.
Not very.
And then it went back.
But it was able to overcome that. It only slowed it down a little bit, but it did not stop it. So it was inhibited from forward progression, but not necessarily stopped. So there are things that happen that can help it go forward, like I showed you every time I push on it. So there are things that promote forward progression, and there are things that happen or can happen that inhibit forward progression. In science, this is where the quantum part of the quantum vision comes in. The quanta in our universe, and again, this is oversimplified for you science people, the quanta are like the smallest things in science. They call them packets. What's the smallest packet of something that we know and we can study? For example, in light, the smallest discovered packet, I think right now, is the photon. So that's the smallest piece, that's the smallest thing that causes this action to happen. That's the smallest thing that we can see. In other science and other physics, there's the quark, and then they discover, oh, there's something smaller than the quark, the buckyball, discovered by Buckminster Fuller. and fullerenes, and now there's even stuff smaller than that. This is smaller than the atom, smaller than the quark, smaller than, and we'll probably keep going to find smaller and smaller things. So these are, every one of those is a quantum, and those are the quanta. That's the quanta of science. So if we're going to have this as a model for us, then, well, what's the quantum in our picture here, in our life, in our movement? And so I would propose that the smallest thing that can cause action or not is the choice. The human choice in your head. Now for improvisers, what does that mean? It's like every moment they're making a choice to say something or not to say something, to do something, to manipulate, to offer, to accept. They're always making a choice. And every choice that they make is going to do either one of two things. It's going to promote forward progression for the seed, or it's going to inhibit forward progression. And so we'll take that same logic for our lives. Every choice I make in life is going to move me forward along my hoped-for path, or it's going to inhibit forward movement along my path. Is that making sense so far? So that's the science of the quantum vision.